Sombalonga finishes! Beautiful! That's what British Sombalonga's all about!
McDonaghy and Gamble and may well have given ball to root back into the game.
It's 2-0! Yes! Bardsley and Bradshaw!
Well, the championship final begins this weekend, the playoff final. Aston Villa taking on Fulham Sunday morning, 2 a.m. So I don't think we'll be sleeping that night. 2 a.m. we got the championship final, and then we got the Champions League final at 4:45 a.m.
Yeah, I think it's might get a sleep Saturday night, miss out on some of the footy, and we'll watch stay up for those ones. But I think it's going to be a cracker. These two sides I've always compared them directly. I think while the game plans are different, I think the structure and the players they've got, that mixture are quite similar. You look at both youth and veterans, and yeah, I think it's going to be a fantastic game. I still can't pick. I don't want to pick because I've always jinxed these two. I think I've been biggest falls under my championship jinxes for the season, but I think it's going to be a cracker and certainly come down to the 90th minute.
Ahmed El Mohammadi is in doubt for the match with injury, a muscular injury. That's going to be a big one because he'll be playing on that right back position if he does get in, and that's against Ryan Sessegnon, who's been on fire all year. Also, in that defensive midfield spot for Aston Villa, it'll be between Glenn Whelan or Miller Jedinak. Who do you think will start that? I
think Whelan will probably take it, to be honest. I think whilst Jedinak's always either sat in that held back spot or in centre back, I think that they'll probably just stick to Whelan. I think he's just, as far as the structure is, he's more consistent. Jedinak, you don't really like that player who you're not too sure where to put him, where you can rely on Whelan probably for that defensive midfield spot. You never know. Maybe if Villa get that early lead, we'll see Jedinak come on and hopefully score another one in the championship playoffs. But I think for now you'll just stick with Whelan.
The star man for Fulham, in my opinion, is Alexander Mitrovic, 12 goals in 17 matches. But what I find interesting with Fulham is that they've delivered the fewest crosses in the championship this year. And they've got such a big player up front. Mitrovic is more of, even though he's that big body that can get his head on the ball, I see him more as a creative kind of player because he comes deep and then creates for Sessegnon or whoever's playing on the right, if it's Kamara, Piazon, any of those players. I see him as being the key in this game. Yeah,
no, absolutely. I think when he had that string of form for about those 7 or 8 games where he kicked almost the same amount of goals. He was fantastic. When you talk about where he's better off in the air or on his feet, I think he's just that strength that he has that he can have around the ball, and certainly body those tall centre backs like John Terry, for instance. I think that'll be a great matchup. But look, when you talk about also the amount of crosses they've put in, it's interesting when you have Piazon or Sessegnon on both sides and trying to put those balls into the middle, and they're fantastic players. But obviously, what's worked so far is cutting in more and playing the ball along the ground for Mitrovic, and I think that might be the way to go against Villa.
And tickets in that match have already been sold out. So 2 big teams. It's going to be 90,000 there. It's going to be a great atmosphere. Honestly, I would love to see both teams in the Premier League next year, but not going to see that. Who do we think is going to win this match?
Look, I've always thought between these two sides that either Grealish or Sessegnon, they'll both be in the Premier League either way. One of them will be staying up with their side. I think one of them will probably jump the ship and join another club. I want to see both in there, and I think that Fulham will get the victory and Sessegnon will be playing on that left wing for Fulham next season.
I see it as an Aston Villa victory. I think they'll defend in this match, allow Fulham to pass the ball around, and then get them on the counter. Grealish stunner.
Grealish stunner. All right, you've heard it here first.
In the League One final, 12 a.m. Monday morning, Rotherham taking on Shrewsbury. It's going to be a good game, this one. Shrewsbury 2-0 overall victory over Charlton. Defensively, they were stable, which is surprising when before that, the last few games, they struggled in the season defensively. Whereas Rotherham, they had a victory over Scunthorpe. Pretty sure it ended 2-0 in the second leg, but
2-2 in there.
4-2 all up. Aussie Ryan Williams is starting in the Rotherham side, so hopefully he gets into that side at Wembley.
Yeah, no, fantastic effort. I think you look at both sides probably counterpose each other. We said Shrewsbury probably been strong defensively of late, and Rotherham, 4 goals over the 2 legs, so quite strong and aggressive traits. So look, it could be a strong right in the middle. But look, I think that the competition all season has been tight, and we've seen with Blackburn and Wigan have been able to prove up top. And I think Shrewsbury have always just been behind them. I think they're my tip going into the weekend. I think the defence will just come out on top in the end and maybe a 1-1 draw, go to penalties, and by the end they'll be victors.
Well, if Rotherham win, it'll be all three teams that were relegated from the Championship last season will go back up into the Championship this year. So I'm hoping for a Shrewsbury victory. I'd love to see Shrewsbury up in the Championship next year. And on to our League 2 final, which will be Tuesday 12 a.m, Australian Eastern Standard Time. Coventry taking on Exeter. Coventry were fortunate to get into the final. They had a 2-0 lead over Notts County in the second leg. Notts County cut that down to 2-1. Then Forte scored, which looked like a clear goal, but it was given offside. Would have made it 2-2. And then Coventry scored 2 more goals and win it 4-1 all up. But yeah, they got fortunate with the referees.
Yeah, that's football in the end. I think we always see it happen in the important games as well, that something will raise some questions. But yeah, both sides, Exeter and Coventry, dominant, I think, in both over both legs. Certainly not shy of scoring goals, and I think it'll be interesting to see that who will start out on top. Will both push for that aggressive fortune early, or will one of them maybe look to change that game plan and adapt to the side that's going to push first. So look, I've picking Exeter for this one, but I think once again it could be a 2-2, 3-3 heading into extra time. Yeah,
Exeter had a strong victory over Lincoln in their semi-final, 3-1 victory. I'm gonna tip Coventry. I just think them beating Notts County, who were the better side in those semi-finals, I see Coventry winning that easily 3-0.